8 o'clock, 92.1 WROI. With Jerry Reed and Eastbound and Down from Smokey and the Bandit. As we recognize Burt Reynolds passing. And we're going to go to the phone lines now. And we're going to talk to the guy who Burt Reynolds patterned his entire career after. His name is State Senator Randy Head. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'll tell you what, if he patterned his entire life after me, you'd never would have heard of him.
Now, you're one of these guys that's perpetually young. Are you old enough to remember Smokey and the Bandit?
I remember Smokey and the Bandit. Okay. I was alive.
That was such a huge thing in this state and around the country. Let's see here now. We were announcing on the news yesterday that the governor's put forth his plan. Wants to put $1 billion into some infrastructure, wants to finish I-69 early, wants to do some rural broadband stuff. What can you tell us about this?
Well, this is allowed in the toll road lease. This is not a bill the legislature's contemplating, but this is the power that the governor has, and he stated it and made the decision that he'll raise toll rates on trucks going across the Indiana toll road and then put that money all over the state of Indiana. And that's going to include 3 interchanges on US 31 and one being right there at State Road 10 at Argus, which is going to make that an awful lot safer, better for people going east-west and north-south. And congratulations to the town of Argus because they fought that J-turn that was originally proposed there and fought it hard, and the governor listened, and I'm thrilled about that.
Yeah, I remember when that happened. That was just like last year, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And they want to do an industrial park there and do some economic development, and that's going to increase truck traffic, on both sides of 31. And the J-turns, it was almost unanimous. People in town thought the J-turns were going to be a very bad thing, and we're adamantly opposed. And Bill Friend and I had a meeting with the governor to talk about that, and I'm glad that the governor listened to the people in the community. And the same thing down in Miami County. They're going to put 2 interchanges there instead of stoplights, so they're going to remove the stoplights so people going north and south on 31 can travel through faster and build interchanges so you can get on and off, or you can go over 31 without having to risk your life nearly as much as is required right now. And that's going to be just a great thing for everybody.
Is that there at the truck stop? Is that what you're talking about in Miami County? Where is that interchange you're talking about?
There's one at State Road 18 and one at Business 31, just south of Peru.
Okay. Yeah.
So no, I don't think it's at the truck stop. It's not at 24 and 31. That stoplight I think will stay there.
That'll probably stay because you got that right there is maybe a good idea for one. I'm not an expert, but Old 31's interchange then is what, about a mile and a half north of that, isn't it?
South. It's just south of the town of Peru or city of Peru, and it's a way for
talking about now.
People coming up from the direction of Kokomo to get into downtown Peru.
Yeah, where the old bowling alley used to be down there.
Right on,
okay,
exactly.
Very good.
And that's going to be a good thing. There's going to be a lot more money going into maintaining the toll road. $50 million that the company that's got the lease is going to have to put in. We're going to upgrade 20 and 30 as well. Do some more stuff with rail. Do some more things with the port in southern Indiana. And this is going to be money that goes all over. And the tolls, the people who drive trucks or own trucks going along the toll road are not going to like it at all. But the toll increases are going to put our toll road in line with those in surrounding states. Our toll is going to be a little bit more than it takes to drive across Ohio and less than it takes to drive through Illinois.
Well, that's a good thing.
Right, and again, that's just for trucks. That's not for passenger cars. The toll rates for the passenger vehicles are going to stay exactly the same.
Yeah, they won't like it, but it's not like they're going to turn south at the border and go through Kentucky and then...
Right, the toll increases are not that drastic.
Yeah, it's what, 35 The high end was $34 for the entire length.
It's different for the class truck that you have. For instance, a Class 3 vehicle is going to go from $16.33 to drive the entire 157 miles up to $22.04. So, if you want to round it up, you're going to say $6. For a Class 4 vehicle, it's going to go from $44.46 up to $60.02. So,
yeah, that's not that much, really. If you think about a big truck, what they're going to spend anyway just to get out on the road. So, all right. So we're going to take some of this money as well, and we're going to put it into broadband. Is that how I understand it? Exactly.
$100 million is going to be earmarked for rural broadband, and my understanding is that's going to be offered in matching money. I don't know the exact percent of matching money, but matching money for local governments to get broadband out into our rural communities. And they're estimating that if all of Indiana was able to get broadband, the economic impact would be billions upon billions of dollars. And I think we're probably a long way from everybody getting it, but I think there are a lot more people who can get it under this program than have it now, and that's also going to be a good thing.
Do we have any idea as far as percentages, how much the state does and doesn't have broadband right now?
I know somebody does, but I don't know that answer, Barron. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah. But there's no doubt in anybody's mind that in the 21st century, if you don't have broadband, you already have an albatross around your neck, right?
Exactly. And we want people in rural areas to have it, and it's going to be a good increase in the quality of life in rural Indiana.
Okay, we had a question from a listener. They said you were sponsoring a bill for ghosting of phone numbers.
I wrote that bill last year, and it didn't move. I think I'll try it again this year. And the gist of it is you start getting a lot of salesmen calling you now, and the number comes up as a local number, or maybe even a number that you know.
That happens to me twice a night, literally twice a night.
It's Rachel from Card Services, right?
Yeah.
And
Card Services must be the biggest company in the world.
And they want to sell you a credit card. When you first hear it, you think there's something wrong with your credit card, and there's nothing wrong with your credit card. And they're selling a product. And you haven't invited this, you didn't ask for it, you didn't sign up for a list saying, please contact me. And this spoofing of phone numbers is a terrible annoyance to people all over Indiana, and I think that ought to stop.
Now, would your bill have told, for example, Comcast, that if I report to them I'm getting ghosted, they've got to do something about their phone number?
The way I wrote the bill was you can punish the salesman making the call.
Okay, because I said I get two a night. I do. I literally get the Card Services one. You and I could probably recite that script by heart. But the other one, and this is the one that really upsets me, for other people's sake. The VA is sending me back to school, and now every night I'm getting a call from somebody telling me this is your last chance to verify your student loan.
Yeah, wrong.
And I just have it in my head that some 18 or 19-year-old kid's going to start pushing buttons and end up borrowing a bunch of money and don't even know it.
Oh, exactly. Now, they're going to want your birth date, your Social Security number, maybe your credit card number, and do not ever give that over the phone like that.
Yeah, because you could end up funding a revolution somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah. So how do we know who the salesperson is?
That's the rub. That's going to be a tough thing.
Yeah, because, see, Comcast gives out these numbers, and they all have the same prefix. And
right.
So you get that, and it says right on your caller ID, it's a guy down the block or something,
right.
You know.
But if I pick up the phone, and if Rachel from Card Services, if I let her get into her spiel, she will tell me what company she's working for, and that's how you find out.
I see. Okay.
If she wants you to buy something from her, she's going to have a company name and address.
Okay, yeah. I never get that far.
I don't either.
So I didn't know they did that. Okay, so we're going to try to get something done about that. Is that still on the table?
Yes, session doesn't start till January, so that's definitely still on the table.
Okay, very good. Now, officially, Bill Friend is still in until election
December 30th.
day.
Well, right, till the election.
Okay. We were talking to him, and and this wasn't something, so if you don't have an answer, that's fine. I didn't give you a heads up on this. But he was talking about the automated and robotic cars that are coming down the road. And he said that in all the sessions they ever had, there were questions about safety that the companies couldn't answer, and there were questions about how much of an economic impact it would have in terms of taking jobs away. Are we close enough to that yet? We need to worry about it?
Well, there were a couple of bills that were winding their way through the legislature last session, and in the end, the people in the conference committee couldn't agree, and those died. But it's an issue that's definitely being discussed, and it's time to discuss it because we need to have rules in place ahead of time. Instead of bringing up the rear and trying to react. The technology's here. It's been tested in different parts of the country. There have been accidents. I know of at least one fatality. There probably have been more. And so we need to have some rules in place that are going to govern that. The manufacturers, it's the same, the big car companies that everyone's already heard of, would like to be able to do it. But the safety questions are paramount.
Okay, very good. I'll ask you one more. I know you're busy, so we'll let you go. But
no problem.
I get these press releases from professional groups, and of course, they're always advocating their cause. We are hearing about the tariffs' impact on things. So I get a press release from the National Realtors Association saying timber tariffs have driven up the cost of a house by X amount of dollars. I get stuff about soybean farmers and so forth.
Right.
Indiana's a very heavy agricultural state. We got a pretty good timber economy in this state. We got a pretty good manufacturing economy in this state. Are we seeing any negative effects of all this tariff trade war stuff yet?
Well, we are. Now, for the steel industry, for instance, they love it because it's created a bigger market for them because China can't dump steel the way they used to because of the tariffs we imposed. But China's retaliated, and they've put tariffs on things that Indiana and that the United States exports to them, and soybeans are first and foremost. China's the biggest importer of our soybeans, and timber is another one, and there are others. And I've talked to Farm Bureau about this yesterday. The real issue here is that China steals our intellectual property. I mean, if you invent a device and you want to market it in China, they let you, but you have to give up your patent. And then, within 5 years, they've got someone else making it using your technology, and they undercut you, and then suddenly you may be allowed to sell in China, but you can't anymore because the market says our product's cheaper than yours and it's the same product. And so I know the federal government is trying to deal with that and trying to get concessions on that. And then agriculture gets caught up in the trade war. Soybeans have nothing to do with intellectual property, but China is doing a tit for tat and saying if you're going to impose tariffs on us, we'll impose them on some products of yours. And the federal government's done an emergency help measure for soybean farmers, but it's not enough to make them whole. It helps cut the losses. So right now they're hurting, and timber is another one that you said. So I'm hoping that this gets wrapped up quickly. I think we've seen some progress with Mexico, and people speculate that the federal government wants to do the same with Canada and the EU, and then go after China and get some concessions and get everybody back to where we were or better.
It seems like our economic picture in Indiana is pretty good, especially along the lines of employment. Just from my own personal observation, I have seen. For example, this last weekend, I saw a fast food restaurant had cut back their hours. They had a sign on the door because they couldn't find enough people to work.
Right. We're at record levels of employment right now, and it's hard for employers to find people to do jobs. Okay,
now that's interesting. Do we have a teacher shortage still in Indiana? Are we dealing with all that?
We're dealing with it, but we certainly still have it, and that was a nationwide problem. But I've seen media reports just in the last couple of weeks as schools were starting up around the state of schools still having trouble finding teachers. We started a teacher scholarship program, and they're taking applications for that right now. So if you want to go to college and learn to teach, and you commit to teach in Indiana for a certain length of time, we will help pay. I think it was up to I don't want to say how much because I might get it wrong, but it was substantial. We'll pay a substantial amount of your college expenses so we can greatly lessen your student loan debt.
That's excellent. That's excellent. Again, we're speaking with State Senator Randy Head. Did you do any summer study committee stuff that you want to tell us about?
Oh, they're just getting started. I was at 2 this week. One was on the Department of Child Services, and there's an awful lot of work to do there. Well, we've had an outside group come in and do an audit and make recommendations, and they are substantial. We have a lot more kids per capita in the system and removed from homes in Indiana than in all the surrounding states. We're trying to figure out why that is. If our circumstances aren't that much different, southern Indiana versus southern Illinois or southern Ohio, for instance, and why is it that we take a lot more kids out of homes than they do? And there will be a lot of bills this coming session to try to address that problem.
Yeah, that'll be interesting because that could go either way. You could say, well, we're taking too many or we're doing a better job than the other states. Either way, if you don't know what's going on.
Well, we've got to take a look at outcomes. We've got to figure out ways to solve this problem.
Very good. Again, speaking with State Senator Randy Head. Senator, I know you're busy, so I'm going to let you go, but we very much appreciate the phone call and your time.
Well, it's been great, Barron. Thank you very much.
You have a great day and stay safe out there, okay?
You too. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
It's 8:14. We're going to go ahead and give a listen to ABC News.